Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down the surprising history of branding and trace how it evolved from just a simple mark of quality into, believe it or not, a powerful cultural myth.
So, when you hear the word branding, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of people, it's this, right? Cowboys, cattle, the whole deal. But you know what? That's just a tiny, tiny piece of a much bigger and, frankly, way more interesting story.
Because the real story of branding is actually the story of us. It's really all about our fundamental human needs for connection and for distinction. It's evolved over time to tap into these super deep psychological needs that we all have. That need to belong and connect with a group, but at the same time, that need to stand out and define who we are as individuals.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break this all down. We're going to look at the different layers of a brand. First up, guaranteeing quality. Then we'll get into badges and identity. After that, creating community. Then becoming a myth. And finally, we'll see how all these layers stack up today. Let's get into it. All right, let's start at the very beginning. Layer 1, the foundation of trust. This is the brand as a quality guarantor. At its absolute most basic, the whole original job of a brand was just to make a simple, crucial promise. Hey, you can trust this. You've probably heard this one. This was the famous promise from Harley Procter for Ivory soap, way back in the early 20th century. Now you gotta remember, back then, a lot of the goods you'd buy were, well, inconsistent, unreliable. So a brand's main job was just to signal that this product was different, that it had superior, dependable quality. And this kind of clear, functional promise, well, today we have a name for that. We call it a unique selling proposition, or USP. It's that one distinct benefit that makes a product better than all its competitors. For Ivory, it was dead simple and super powerful. It's purity. But look, a promise is just a promise without some proof, right? That's where the reason to believe, or RTB, comes in. And for Ivory, the proof was incredible. It floated. The logic behind it was just brilliant. Only something that pure could actually be lighter than water. It was this perfect, tangible way to prove their quality promise. Okay, so that's the foundation. Now let's build on it. Layer 2, the personal dimension. This is the brand as both a badge and a building block. This is where brands stopped being just about the product and started being about the person using it. So picture this, it's the 1950s and 60s, and all of a sudden we see the rise of conspicuous consumption. This is the idea that what we consume, what we buy, what we own, says something really profound about who we are, or, who we want to be. And this just opened up a whole new playing field for brands. They weren't just about what they did anymore. Now it was all about what they said about you. And what's really fascinating here is how this whole personal idea split into two distinct parts. On one hand, you have the brand as an external badge. This is all about what my choices say about me to other people. But then you have the brand as an internal building block. And this is about what my choices help me believe about myself. See the difference? It's that external versus internal identity. And this leads to a massive shift in thinking, summed up perfectly by this quote. The true power, the real meaning of a brand, it's not made in a factory anymore. It's built right here, in the hearts and minds of all of us. The value literally moved from the company's books right into our shared culture. Okay, building on that, we get to layer 3, the community connection. This is where we see brands make a huge leap from just interrupting the content we like to becoming the content. This is the brand as a medium. I mean, just think about this journey for a second. Way back in the 1930s, brands like Procter & Gamble literally created the content. That's where we get the term soap operas. They made the radio shows to sell their soap. Then you fast forward to the 80s, and their main strategy was to interrupt our favorite TV shows with commercials. But now, the whole goal is for brands to become the interactive content that we actually want to engage with. So, what's the bottom line here? It's that we, the audience, are totally in control now. We have remote controls, ad blockers, the entire internet. So brands can't just rely on borrowed interest anymore. They can't just buy our attention. They have to become interesting themselves. They really have to earn it. And a brilliant example of this is Coca-Cola's happiness machine. Remember those? It would dispense free money to people if they promised to do something good with it. It even evolved to connect couples or people in regions of conflict. See, Coca-Cola didn't just talk about joy or happiness. They created a direct, shareable experience of it. The marketing itself became the event. Okay, this brings us to the top of the pyramid, The final, and you could argue the most powerful layer, the apex of meaning. This is where a brand transcends its product and actually becomes a myth. Let's be honest, we live in a pretty cynical world, especially when it comes to marketing. So brands today, they have to stand for something more than just making money. It all comes back to that famous idea of starting with why. The brands that have a clear purpose, a real point of view, those are the ones that connect with us on a much deeper philosophical level.
So how does a brand actually do that? How do you build a myth? Well, first, you have to have a real purpose, a clear why that goes way beyond just profit. Then you have to share your values and communicate what you believe in, openly and credibly. You wrap that mission in engaging stories. And finally, you end up providing a kind of moral compass, offering meaning to your community. It's a powerful formula.
Okay, so we've built this whole structure, right? Layer by layer. But how does it all actually work together in the modern world? Let's bring it all home and look at the complete brand stack. Now, this is maybe the single most important thing to remember from this whole explainer. These roles, these layers, they didn't replace each other. They were layered one on top of the other, and they're all living and working in parallel. And the absolute strongest brands today, they are firing on all of these cylinders at once. So here it is, the 5 roles of a modern brand. Think of it like a checklist. First, functional. Does it just work? That's the guarantor role. Second, social. What does using it say about me to other people? That's the badge. Third, emotional. How does it make me feel? That's the building block. Fourth, cultural. Can I participate in it? That's the brand as a medium. And finally, philosophical. What does it believe? That's the myth. The best brands today absolutely nail all 5. So we've seen how brands have evolved to literally help shape our culture. But now I want to turn the question to you. How have they shaped you? Seriously, think about the brands you really love, the ones you choose to bring into your life. Which of these layers matters most? Is it just that it works? Is it what it says about you? How it makes you feel? The community you get to be a part of? Or is it something deeper? A belief you both share? It's something to think about.